The deluge came barreling down the valley with a thunderous roar, sweeping away everything in its path. Visitors expecting the serenity of Petra's 2,000-year-old architecture had to scramble frantically to higher ground as the water raged beneath them. Around 3,500 tourists were in the area at the time, but none were injured. Overall, Petra's flood channels worked as intended, but the volume and intensity of a torrent 4 meters high tested the flood barriers to their limits. Numerous other areas were similarly affected. The city of Aqaba declared a state of civil emergency, and across the country, the fatalities included 2 children and one of the divers engaged in the rescue effort.
Thousands of tourists have also been evacuated from Petra. The visitors were taken to safe areas before flash floods inundated parts of the ancient city. Authorities declared a state of emergency in the Red Sea port of Aqaba further south as downpours started in the afternoon. Universities and schools have been closed and mosques have been opened to shelter civilians in areas hit by the floods. 2 weeks ago, 21 people, mainly children, died after their bus was swept away during a school outing. Politicians and members of the public criticized the emergency services for being unprepared, and 2 ministers were forced to resign after a parliamentary committee found negligence.
البتراء يا شباب راحت ما شاء الله الآن من البتراء. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you'll be safe.
Shalom from Jerusalem, friends. We were devastated to learn of the news over the flash flooding and loss of life in Jordan the past few days. I know many of you have probably seen the news coverage as well. The images of the tourists stranded within the Seek, that's that narrow opening at the Petra World Heritage Site. People were sitting up on the carved out water aqueducts and they were fighting to not get carried away from the rapidly moving waters. We were just there this past summer and we are just completely stunned by the news. More than a dozen people dead, and search and rescue teams are still out looking for any remaining survivors. Seho and I, we know these people at Petra and at Wadi Musa, and they are the most hospitable people in the world. They cater to the tourists. They provide for their own family's needs through their gifts of hospitality. I mean, there's always a few bad apples in every basket, but I'm saying from all sincerity that the people in Wadi Musa and at Petra, Aqaba, all of these people in that area, they are very wonderful people, and our hearts and our prayers are being sent up to our Heavenly Father for them. Won't you please join us in prayer for them today, friends? After lunch today, the Lord asked me to receive his words concerning the prophetic implication of these events in Jordan. And now I'm going to read the message that I received. This is November 11th, 2018. To my dearest children who call themselves the faithful servants of God, Children, I have asked my daughter Gwendolen and my son Seho to alert the rest of the bride of Christ of the events that are occurring in the nation of Jordan at this time. Children, the severe flash floods and loss of life over the past few days is only a warm-up of the events that will happen during the time of Jacob's trouble. This time period will be the worst time the planet has ever known, and the time that my holy remnant will flee to the nation of Jordan to seek solace from the deadly threats of the Antichrist. They will seek shelter there in the mountains, and the enemy will be supernaturally held back from pursuing them due to his future betrayal to the king of Jordan. He will not be allowed to step foot on Jordanian soil because of his lies and schemes. They will be revealed to the nations of the earth. I will supernaturally protect my holy remnant in the hand-carved city of Petra, and I will allow my holy ones to minister to the rest of the nation of Jordan as a favor to me for sparing their lives of starvation and animal attacks in the desert. I will supernaturally empower them, and I will help them to also minister to the Jews, who they will also escort to safety in large caravans across the wilderness. They will await my arrival together as a new holy nation, and many signs and wonders will be done there in my name. Even greater signs and wonders than when I walk the earth. The Antichrist will use weather technology to continue to threaten my precious remnant. But I am the creator of the universe, and I will open up my earth and allow it to take a large drink of water when the Antichrist tries to carry them away with torrential rains and wind. He will cause lightning and hail and massive snowstorms. But my mighty end times prophets will cause his threats to be of no effect. These are the days of Elijah the prophet, and these are the days of my mighty servant Moses. They will guide and care for my holy remnant, and then they will rejoin the masses in my holy city, ushering in the coming of the King. Pray for my two witnesses, dearest ones. Pray for their safety and for their provisions as I am preparing them to stand before the nations of the earth to announce the coming of the real King of Israel. I will personally come down from my throne to deal with the false prophet, the Antichrist, and the old serpent myself. I am the ultimate authority on my planet. His days of darkness are just about over, and then peace will fill the earth once and for all of time. I am the owner of time, and I am the owner of the universe. Lovingly, Lord Yeshua, the last ruling king of the earth.